Welcome to part 2 of the tutorial on the Lost Souls shawl. Pattern is a free download by Marietta Roy on Ravelry. You can find the link below in the description, okay? And also the link for part 1 if you've missed part 1. All right, we are going to be continuing on now with row 10, which is chins on the next two faces and continuation of the forehead on the center face. Okay, so we've already done our chain 3 and turned our work, so we're going to go ahead and put a shell in the first shell from the previous row in the chain 1 space. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Put a shell, and that is 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. Okay, and that is considered a shell in this pattern. Okay, all right, now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put 7 double crochets in this chain 7 space from the previous row. Okay, so yarn over, go in the space, yarn over and pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over, go through the last 2. That is a double crochet. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if you need to, you can pause the video to catch up. Okay, you can stretch these stitches out if need be to make them even. Okay, so now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we are going to put a shell in the next shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell. Okay, so again, that's 2 double crochets. There's 1, 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. 1 and 2. Okay, now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the first stitch, okay, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 10 stitches. So skip this very first stitch, okay, and then just single crochet in the next 10. So we go into the stitch, wrap over, pull up a loop, go through both. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we're going to skip the last stitch, this one right here, and then we're going to chain 3. Sorry, lost my place there. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of this shell from the previous row. Okay, and there's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. 1 and 2. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, And now we're going to do exactly what we did on the other side. We're simply going to do 7 double crochets in this chain 7 space. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, that one didn't work out right. There's 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to slide that just a little bit and put the 7th one in there. There we go. And there's 7. Okay. And we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. Okay. So there's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. Let me pull up some more yarn here. Okay. Chain 1 and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. Okay. Now go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Okay. So now you can see we are starting to work on the chins of these next 2 faces that we are creating, and we are continuing on the forehead for our center face there. Okay. Okay, so let's start row 11 with, which is the mouth of these 2 faces and the continuation of the forehead on the center skull. Okay. All right, so we're going to put a shell in the shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row, just like we always do. So that's 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. 1 and 2, that completes the shell. Okay, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to single crochet in the first double crochet from the previous row. Okay, so go ahead and single crochet. Okay, and now we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and now we're going to single crochet in the 7th double crochet, which is the last one. Okay, so we single crocheted in the first, we created the mouth by chaining 7, and we're single crocheting in the 7th double crochet. Okay, there we go. 1 single crochet. All right, now we're going to chain 3 and put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. Okay, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. 1 and 2. Okay, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, pull up more yarn, 5 and 6. We're going to skip the last 2 stitches of this one and this one. Okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. And that's 1 double crochet. Let me pull up some more yarn here, guys. Oops. Two double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. There's 1, there's 2, okay, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to single crochet in the first double crochet, and we're going to chain 7 to create the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and we're going to single crochet in the last double crochet, just like we did on the other side for the other face. Okay, so there's our single crochet. Okay, and we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. Again, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. 1 and 2. Okay, chain 3 and turn your work. 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Now let's take a look at what's going on with our pattern so far. Okay, so what we've done is we have created the chin and the mouth opening and working on the upper lip of this face and this face over here. And we're continuing on with the forehead for our center skull. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started on row 12. And I'm hoping that you guys have, downloaded your pattern to a device or printed it out on paper, because it's very, very helpful. Okay, so we're working on row 12. We're going to chain 3, which we did. We turned our work. We're going to create a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. So that's 1, whoops. One double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. There's 1 and 2. Okay, and you can kind of guess what's going to happen. So you remember how this face is suspended by these chain 3s. You see that we're doing chain 3s, and now we're going to suspend the other faces by chain 3s. So you can guess. We chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now we're going to single crochet in the single crochet from the previous row right here. Okay. So go ahead and do that. Single crochet. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do 7 single crochets over this chain 7 lip opening. Okay. So just go in, pull up a loop, wrap around, pull through both. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I had a cat climb up right next to the camera. Okay, and so we're going to single crochet in this single crochet, just like we did in the beginning. Okay, go ahead and single crochet. Okay, now you can probably guess what's going to happen. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to place a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. So that's 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, chain 1 and 2 more to complete that shell. 1 and 2. Let me pull up some more yarn here. Okay, that completes that shell there. Okay, and now you can probably see what's going to happen there. We're going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip the first stitch right here. We're going to skip this first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to skip the last stitch here. Okay, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, there's a chain 1 and 2 more double crochets. There's 1 and 2. That completes that shell. Okay, you can see what's going on there, right? So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me pull up some more yarn here. Okay. Okay, now because we're mirroring what we did on the other side, we're going to create another lip over here. So if you remember what we did, we single crocheted in the first single crochet. So go ahead and single crochet in the first single crochet there. Oops. There we go. And now we're going to go ahead and put 7 single crochets over this chain 1 lip space from the previous row. Okay. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to single crochet in that last single crochet. Okay. All right, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to put a shell in the shell from the previous row. So that's 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, chain 1, and the 2 last double crochets to complete that shell and the row. Chain 3 and turn your work. 2, 3. We are now going on row 13. Okay, so this is the nose and close row. So when I say the nose and close, okay, we're going to be putting the nose here on these 2 faces here, okay, and we're going to be closing up this area of the forehead for our very first face. So we can actually say our first face is done. How about that? Okay. All right. So we have previously chained 3 and turned our work. So we simply do what we always do. We put a shell in the chain 1 space from the previous row. And I don't know whether I have to keep saying a shell is 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. I'm not sure if that's necessary at this point in the directions, but I think you pretty much probably figured that part out on your own. Try and get enough yarn pulled up here so I don't have to keep pulling more out all the time. Okay, there, I think that's good. All right, so we've completed our first shell on row 13. And if you look at your work, you can figure out what's going to happen next. We are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to single crochet in the first 3 stitches, okay, of our upper lip. All right, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're going to double crochet in the next, wrap over, go into your stitch, grab a loop, pull it through, go through 2, and go through 2. And now remember, to create our nose opening, we're going to chain 1 and skip a stitch. Okay, so we're going to skip this stitch right here. Okay, and then we're going to double crochet in the next stitch, just to mirror what we did on the other side. Don't forget to skip that stitch. Okay, so there's our double crochet. And now we're going to single crochet in the last 3 stitches. So here's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now you can see what's going to happen. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell. That's 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets to complete that shell, 1 and 2. Okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Shell in the next shell. So you're just completely bypassing the whole top of the head, and you're jumping right over to mirror what you did on the other side. Okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we are going to single crochet in the first 3 stitches. Here's 1. Now we're creating the nose on the other side for the second face. Okay, 2 and 3. We're going to double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip a stitch, skip this stitch right here, and then double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and now single crochet in the last 3 stitches. There's 1, there's 2, and then the last stitch, 3. Okay, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell, and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn your work, and we will be ready for row 14. And you see how you've got your little nose openings for these 2 little faces here. Okay, 1 here and 1 here. Okay, we're going to be starting on row 14, eyes and the bridge of the nose. Okay, so we've got these 2 faces going, one on either side, and for some reason we are not, there we go, we're focusing in a little bit better. Okay, I've got you zoomed in quite a bit this time. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, so you've already chained 3 and turned your work, so go ahead and put your shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. And again, that's always 2 double crochets. There's 1, there's 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. Okay. It is raining so hard here, guys, that you probably can hear it. It's horrible. It's raining so hard. I'm just pulling up some more yarn here. Okay, so let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to half double crochet in this first stitch of the nose part of the face that we did on the previous row. So to half double crochet, we wrap around, we go into the stitch, we wrap and pull up a loop. We've got 3 loops on our hook. We wrap and we go through all 3 at once. That is a half double crochet. Now chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. 6, 7. We are creating the eye sockets. Okay, so we're going to single crochet in the nose space from the previous row, which is the chain 1 space. Okay, so just go in, wrap over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, wrap and go through both. That is a single crochet. Okay, now chain 7 for the second eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and half double crochet in this last stitch to mirror what we did on the other side of the face. Okay, so wrap, go into your stitch, wrap, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, wrap and go through all 3 at once. For some reason I'm tight here. Oh, well, that's interesting. Let's see what's pulling that so tight here. So I am not a tight crocheter. But for some reason that is tight. Oh, I see what happened. See what happened? Can you see it? The yarn split. So let me see if I can fix that a little bit. That's why it's hard to use yarn that splits. It really is. It can make your work a little bit lengthy. I'm going to take that out and I'm going to redo that half double crochet because, okay, so after you chain 7 for the second eye, go ahead and do a half double in this stitch to mirror what you did on the other side. Okay, so wrap, go into your stitch, wrap, pull through a loop, 3 loops on your hook, wrap and go through all 3. That is a half double crochet. Now chain 3, 2, 3, and go ahead and put a shell in the shell from the previous row. Okay, and that's 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, 2 more double crochets. There's 1 and 2. Got some splitting yarn going on here. Okay, so we have created the 2 eyes for this little guy here. Isn't that cute? We've chained 3 and we've done our shell in the shell from the previous row. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3.
Chain 2, not 3.
Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell from the previous row. And of course, as always, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2. Sorry, my yarn is sticking to my hands because it's so humid in here today. Apologize for that. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're not focusing. I just looked up on my TV set where I've got you streamed to, and I see that we're not focusing. So I think I need to zoom out a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and put our half double in this first stitch here. Okay, so that's wrap, go into the space, wrap, pull through a loop. Okay, 3 loops on your hook, wrap and go through all 3. Now chain 7 to create one of the eyes. 4, 5, 6, 7. Do your single crochet in the nose space right here. Okay, and then chain 7 for the second eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Put your half double in this stitch right here. We're really not zooming in. Put your half double in this stitch right here from the previous row. As soon as I finish this row, guys, I will go ahead and zoom out because obviously we are not focusing very well right here. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and put your shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. That's 1 double crochet, that's 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 last double crochets, 1 and 2 to finish row 14, and chain 3 and turn your work. 1, 2, 3. Now, as you can see, what we have done here, we have created the eyes on the little faces on the side. Okay, so you can see our 2 little faces that have their 1, 2 eye holes. Okay, and what we're going to be doing now is an increase row, because we're going to be opening up and preparing for 3 faces in the following row. So row 15 is an increase. We will be doing double shells in this next row. So let me go ahead and pause for a moment and zoom the camera out. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on row 15, which is the increase row, and hopefully you can see a little bit better now that I have zoomed us out. So here are the 2 eyes for this face right here. Here are the 2 eyes for this face right here. So we've got the chin, we've got the bottom lip, the mouth, the upper lip, working on the nose and the bridge, and we have created the 2 eye sockets. Okay, so again, row 15 is the brows and the bridge and an increase row. Okay, so go ahead and place a double shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. So again, that's going to be 2 shells separated by a chain 2. So do your regular shell of 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2. That's your first shell completed. Now chain 2, 1, 2, and in the very same space, put another shell. Very simple. Okay, and that's your increase. Okay, chain 1 and the last 2 double crochets for the second shell in that space, 1 and 2. Now normally I apologize for my animals. They have been going absolutely psychotic this morning, doing what I call crazy cat. And that just means that they're expending energy and they race all over the house chasing each other. So I'm hoping now, they seem to be resting. So I'm hoping we've got some quiet time right now. Okay, so we've just completed our increase shell. We've got 2 shells in the same chain 1 space from the previous row. Go ahead and chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then single crochet in this half double from the previous row. Okay, just go right into that stitch and do a single crochet. Okay, there we go. All right, now we're going to do 7 single crochets over the chain 7 eye space from the previous row. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, we're going to skip the single crochet, which is in the nose opening from the previous row. Okay, and we're going to do 7 more single crochets over the next eye chain. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and now we are going to do a single crochet in the half double from the previous row. So go ahead and go into that stitch and do a single crochet. Okay, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go ahead and put a shell in the shell from the previous row. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. There's 1, and there is 2. Okay, now they're telling us to do chain 2 and do another shell. Okay, so we've done our normal shell, and instead of chaining 3 now, we're going to shorten up the space here, and we're only chaining 2. Okay, and then put your shell, your normal shell, in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. Again, that is 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and the last 2 double crochets to complete that shell. Okay, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me pull up some more yarn. Okay, don't want to pull up too much because then I tend to get little bits of knots in there. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat what we did on the other side. So we're going to single crochet in this half double from the previous row. Okay, do a single crochet there, and then do 7 single crochets over the eye chain from the previous row. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, we're going to skip this single crochet, which is between the 2 eye chains, and just do 7 more single crochets in the next eye space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to single crochet in this half double crochet from the previous row. Okay, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and do our last shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. I have a lot of editing to do on this row. That's what happens when you're distracted by animals. Now somebody's sneezing. Okay, so we have completed this shell. Well, this is an increase row, so what do? We chain 2 and put another shell in the very same chain 1 space. Okay, so that's 2 more double crochets, a chain 1, and the last 2 double crochets. So now we've got an extra shell in the end on, well, actually on both ends of our pattern. Okay, so there's our 2 shells, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 2 space, double crochet, chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn your work, and we will begin on row 16. But let's take a look at where we are in our pattern. Okay, so as you can see, we have created the chin, the bottom lip, the mouth, the upper lip, the nose and bridge, and we've created the eye openings and the brow. And now we are going to be working on the forehead and base. And as you can guess, the next rows we do will have 3 faces on there instead of just 2. And that is how you keep increasing, because when you get to row 15 and it's an increase row and you put the double shells in here, that is going to start expanding and opening up your work for yet another face. And that's why they say you keep repeating rows 10 through 16 until your shawl is the desired length that you want it to be. Okay, but we are going to keep working together here. We are now going to work on row 16. Okay, so we have gone ahead and done our chain 3. We've turned our work. Okay, so we're going to do a shell in the chain 1 space of the first shell. Okay, so go ahead and put your shell in there. 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. Oops. I've got to pull out more yarn here. Okay, so there's our first shell. Okay, and we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are going to skip the chain 2 space between the 2 shells from the previous row, and we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell. Okay, so there's 1 double crochet, back that up. I'm gonna have to pull out more yarn. I have a lot of editing to do. This is sticking to me because of the humidity and I don't like it. Okay, so note to self, edit, edit, edit. Okay, so after you've chained 7, we're going to skip this chain 2 space between the double shells from the previous row and just go into the chain 1 space of the second shell and do a normal shell. Okay, so that is 2 double crochets as always, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Okay, okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to skip the first stitch, and we are going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches, and that's this eye. Okay, so don't go in the first one, just single crochet in the next 6. Okay, and as you remember, the eyes are 7 chains. Okay, so there's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And guys, I have never done this pattern before, so if you hear me kind of going slow or pausing, I'm reading my directions right along with you guys, okay? Because I've never done this. I've never been on row 16 before, so. All right, so now we're going to skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2, and we're going to single crochet in the next 6, okay? So there's 1, oops, not in the stitch right. See how my yarn is splitting? Yeah, I'm not too happy with this yarn either. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. We're going to skip the last stitch, which is this one right here. Okay, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, place our shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2. Okay. And let's see. I believe we should be chaining 3 here. Let's see. Single crochet, skip the last stitch, chain 3, put a shell. Oh, we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's because this is going to be 3 faces in this one, and now we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell from the previous row. So there's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more double crochets to complete that shell. 1 and 2. And now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we are going to work on the forehead of the next face. So we are going to skip the first stitch and single crochet in the next 6 stitches. So skip this one and single crochet in the next 6. 1. Again, we're working on the forehead of the second face on this row. 3, 4, 5, 6. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and single crochet in the next 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to skip that last stitch. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell. Remember, there's 2 shells in here. Okay, oops, I didn't get that wrapped around. Okay, so 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and 2 more double crochet to complete this shell. 1 and 2. We're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got to pull up more yarn. 6, 7. Okay. Put a shell in the chain 1 space of the shell from the previous row. Again, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 double crochets. There's your chain 1 and the last 2 double crochets. 1, 2, chain 3. Okay, I forgot to mention, I apologize. Okay, when we put our shell in the first shell of this double shell and we chain 7, we're skipping that chain 2 space like we did on the other side. I forgot to mention that. And then placing our last shell in the last shell of the previous row. Okay, and then chain 3 and turn your work. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and turn your work. So you can kind of see where we're at now. Now we've started an area where we have room for 1 face, 2 face, and 3 faces. Okay, so we have expanded out to where we can now do 3 faces. Okay, so we will be now repeating rows 10 through 16. We just got done with row 16, So now you just pull back and go back to row 10, which is called the chin and forehead row. So what you will be doing is you will be creating chins for the 3 faces and foreheads for the 2 faces, if that makes sense. Okay? Isn't this exciting? And I will come back and I will do part 3, and we will continue working on rows 10 through 16 to create 3 more faces, and then I will let you be on your way and create your shawl. Thank you for watching part 2. I hope you learned something, and remember, you are all amazing just as you are. Bye.